Florida, which joined the Union as the 27th state in 1845, is nicknamed the Sunshine State and known for its balmy climate and natural beauty. Spanish explorer Ponce de Leon, who led the first European expedition to Florida in 1513, named the state in tribute to Spain's Easter celebration known as Pascua Florida, or Feast of Flowers. During the first half of the 1800s, U.S. troops waged war with the region's Native American population. That's a surprise. During the Civil War, Florida was the third state to secede from the Union. Beginning in the late 19th century, residents of northern states flocked to Florida to escape harsh winters. In the 20th century, tourism became Florida's leading industry and remains so today, attracting millions of visitors annually. Florida is also known for its oranges and grapefruit, and some 80% of America's citrus is grown there. Perhaps best known for the attractions of Orlando, Florida also boasts a wide variety of outdoor recreation on both the water and land. As a matter of fact, nearly 11 million people visit one of the 11 national parks in the state each year. If your wandering includes the historical side, there are 45 national historic landmarks, 18 national natural landmarks, and 1 World Heritage Site. So today we'd like to welcome Loreen O'Brien to our podcast. She's a licensed mental health counselor and has a private practice in Tampa, Florida. She specializes in working with people who are experiencing severe anxiety, including panic attacks and PTSD. Loreen also has been trained in some of the best techniques to calm the mind and bring overall balance. And as many of you that follow us regularly know, balance is one of the keys to prosperity. Loreen is going to take us on an adventure today to Honeymoon Island State Park, where you'll have the opportunity to see osprey, turtles, armadillos, eagles, and the elusive great horned owl. So let's experience some Wandering Zen. Over to you, Loreen.
Hi, Matt.
Welcome.
I'm so glad to be here. And you're right, that great horned owl is elusive on Honeymoon Island. I have yet to get my own picture of it. There's a pair of them nesting there, and there's actually little baby owls. Other people get pictures of them, or when I'm leaving that path, people say, "Did you see the owls?" And I have not yet seen it, but I know they're there.
Well, good luck with that. It is the bird that I want to see, and I cannot find them anywhere. And I would think my bucket list is complete. Well, which is probably the first time anyone's ever said their bucket list will be complete if they see an owl. But it's a big deal for me.
Okay. Oh my gosh. So this Honeymoon Island is one of my favorite spots. I live in the northern part of Tampa, in a community called Wesley Chapel. So it's northern. And it takes 50 minutes to an hour to go directly west over to the Gulf and to a little town called Dunedin. And you go over the causeway there on to the state park, where there's no condos and restaurants, although there's like a little cottage to get a drink or something there so you don't dehydrate. But Honeymoon Island is awesome, especially to go there intentionally to have a mindful experience. What I love about it is they have a short nature trail. I really don't know. It maybe takes about 20 to 25 minutes walking in, and then turn around, you come back out the same way. And that trail is called the Osprey Trail. Which gives you a hint of one of the things you're definitely going to see there. I mean, they have really tall pines and other types of local Florida scrubby bushes and trees. I don't know the names of, but you are for sure going to see these large nests and where osprey are. They're fantastic birds if you've not seen them. They're black and white, and they really stand out.
Gorgeous, yeah.
Yeah, have you seen them?
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Yeah.
You think you're seeing an eagle or something. They're really pretty cool, right? So we have a lot of those here, but they definitely nest along in these trees. So you walking into a very wide path that's cleared out. So, the wildlife is away from you a little bit because, yes, we do have rattlesnakes and poisonous frogs and weird things in Florida. But they stay away from you because it's a nice cleared path to walk in. Several people could be walking at one time. And what's great, you get down to the end of that path and they have it fenced off so that you can't get any closer because there's an eagle's nest
so cool.
On the other side of that fenced area, and to make sure people don't disturb it. And I read that this is the 10th year that eagle pair have been nesting there and having their little eaglets.
That's
Don't
awesome.
even have a cam, Loreen?
This one does not. The one in Fort Myers, Florida has a little eagle cam.
It's funny you should mention that, because I was just actually in Fort Myers last week, and I was talking to someone down there that was saying just the eagle population overall in Florida is just, it's really making a huge comeback. There's so many more than there used to be, which is really exciting for, the rehabilitation of the American eagle.
Absolutely. I know. I didn't realize we had so many eagles as well. When Hurricane Irma just came through, these eagles had to rebuild their nest. But they're still there in that same location. So you're definitely going to see them. You're going to see really cool tortoises that we have here, different types of turtles, and armadillos. We have a lot of art. So that's common to see them on this path. And so, I recommend that location for folks so that, because I believe in doing mindful walking. So if you're going to get out in nature, be sure you're really tuned in to what's around you. Certainly don't go into this beautiful setting and be worrying about what you should be doing or how quickly you need to get back out of the woods because you have things to do. There's plenty of things to focus your attention on and be quite mindful. And there's some benches to stop and just sit and enjoy it. And then that's only half the thing that I love about Honeymoon Island. The other part of this journey is when you come back out that pathway, and where you come back across where you parked, and there's some picnic tables and grills. You just walk through that area, and then there'll be the sandy path. For a long time, I didn't go down that sandy path. It didn't dawn on me that the beach could be at the end of that path.
Sure.
But it was our other sister, Carrie, that was visiting, saying, I bet this connects back over to the beach. I thought we had to get back out of this area. No, you just walk down the little sandy path, and sure enough, you come to a really quiet piece of the beach. You can actually see Clearwater across in the distance, because this is about 12 miles north of Clearwater. But you're just sitting out there with no high rises, no bars, it's a very peaceful, beautiful place. So that's the other half of why Honeymoon Island's so awesome.
Sounds like a good place to catch some Wandering Zen.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. I have done that very thing, and
we'll be doing it later this year, Loreen.
Yes, Jan's been there. When what did you think of that area, Jan?
Just thought you described it perfectly, and I just realized that we're planning a trip hopefully in September, and I now know that I'm definitely coming to Tampa. We're going to do some of our own Wandering Zen, and then head up to Georgia.
There you go. It's perfect.
And we'll have some information that we'll invite you back after we go explore St. Simon Island and then some of those barrier islands in Georgia, and we'll do a future Wandering Zen in places I don't even think Matt's been to.
Yeah, a lot of places in Florida I haven't been to. So this sounds fantastic. I really need to check that out. Hey, Loreen, just real quickly, as you drive into that location, what's the parking like? I mean, is it easy to find? As far as getting there, what's the process?
Right. So when you get over to that west coast from Tampa to the town of Dunedin, you'll go across a causeway, and it's a state park. It's gated with, the workers up front. It's like $6 or $8 a car, something like that you pay to get in. And when you come in, though, it's pretty clearly marked. They'll give you a map at the entrance there. So you may want to if you don't do the trail, there is a dog park there on the beach. There's a dog beach, but the dogs have to stay on leashes. If you want to go to where there's a little more access to get a hot dog and a Coke or something, it can take you into that several parking areas where you're going to have something more around. But if you just follow the signs, and off to the right, it's clearly on the map, and there's a sign that says, the hiking trails, the walking trails, and you go down there, and there's plenty of parking. I mean, before you could get on the trail, the parking lot is right there in amongst the trees. So, and real easy. Everything's just like one way in with little cul-de-sacs and loops to get to these various things, and one way back out of that park. Awesome.
How'd you find out about it? Was it a referral from somebody that you was talking to, or?
No, actually, I'm a wanderer.
Love that.
Yeah. So when I moved to Florida 10 years ago, what's really important to me is to get out and see what's around me.
Sure.
And so I can feel rooted where I am and connected to where I am. And I'm someone that I just have to have nature. It's what helps balance me. So I started to see what is around me without going to St. Pete Beach or Clearwater Beach, where there's tons of people. So there are some cool places in Florida like this that a lot of people know about Honeymoon Island, but people that love nature and want to see the birds are out there taking pictures of them, of nature. That's who you're going to see on these on this path. So that really, just because I am someone that's going to get out and wander it and see what I can connect with. I for example, I live in a neighborhood where a lot of cookie cutter homes and there's not a lot of nature right immediately outside my door. But I make sure I go out of my neighborhood down a mile or half a mile into a development where there's still plenty of nature left, and I can see hawks and other things. So I think that's the
And
key.
what else do you see there?
I was waiting for Jan to bring that up.
I'm bringing it up because every time I go
Alligators.
visit Lorraine and we go do this little wandering, I'm always looking for an alligator. And I actually I will say that I finally got to see an
You
alligator.
did see one last time.
live.
So I call that trail my own name. I named it the Alligator Trail.
That's
because
right.
I
You always see alligators
Every
there,
time I
huh?
walk there, there's ponds. And so I'm a big believer of getting out and connecting. But if you don't have the time to drive somewhere or fly somewhere, you can be intentional about finding something close to home that you on purpose go to, because you can get the same effects even if you don't have to take an airplane to get there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Florida is a pretty incredible place to wander, and you really don't have to go very far if you want to get into seeing, what my wife and I call a lot of them the denizens of the deep, because there are a lot of, you have to keep your eyes open down there, right?
I've walked up on alligators before. There's lots of ponds here, and they just tell you in Florida, assume there is an alligator in the pond. And I used to think that was just kind of cute, but it's true. But they do, and the people will say, "Oh, but they leave you alone. Just leave them alone."
Unless.
Yeah, it was like, until they don't. Right.
They say unless it's mating season or it's a mother alligator protecting her young. So I don't know how you're supposed to know all that. But,
Right.
Pretty much you just stay away from them and they
Yeah.
slip back in the water.
Absolutely. Have you been down to the Everglades, down in that area?
I have not. It's probably it's one of the most beautiful places in Florida. I've not myself been there. No.
Yeah, I bring that up because Florida is swampy all over the place, and you're absolutely right. And thank you for sharing about Honeymoon Island, because that sounds like a place. Certainly, when I'm there next time, which seems like I've been getting to Florida way too much in the last year, but if there's such a thing, but I need to get up there and check that out because it sounds really fantastic. It's great to find places where there are. I mean, the animals you described are all over the state. But those are there, and if you open your eyes and you're really looking for them, you're going to be able to find them. And I have a wandering tip for people that are down towards the Everglades as well. The Everglades National Park is huge, and it's unlike a lot of national parks because there's not like one iconic thing like Half Dome at Yosemite or the Grand Canyon, the south rim of the Grand Canyon. The Everglades it's really spread out, and there's a lot of different little places where you can go within the Everglades and see different things, but kind of the same type of thing throughout the Everglades as well. There are probably 10 to 15 different visitor center throughout the Everglades. So there's a lot of places to get information and a lot of hikes to go on, a lot of things to do in the water. My cousin has gone on these what sound really like incredible hiking adventures where you actually camp in the Everglades and you actually hike in the water up into the Everglades. She's done it a bunch of times, and I always ask her about that. So what's happening with as I said, the denizens of the deep, lurking around? She goes, yeah, you'll be walking right around. You'll see them floating around the water. And, that's obviously that works for her. I'm a pretty adventurous guy, but I don't know that I'd be tramping around with a bunch of alligators and crocodiles. That doesn't sound like my idea of Zen.
They're pretty interesting animals. I mean, we see them all the time in our neighborhood. People are on the ponds here, their houses, and they really do leave you alone unless you go up and bother them.
Right.
They go out of their way to come after you. So, and in fact, when you walk towards them, they almost always just go get in the water. But still, you should be so cautious.
Yeah, you have to.
We do have accidents and things that happen involving alligators.
Every once in a while, it'll appear in the headlines. You're absolutely right. So, as far as the Everglades go, from the west side of the state, you can go down US 41 or I-75, either one, down to where it kind of cuts over towards the Miami area, which in the 75 is called Alligator Alley. If you stay on the 41, which is the Tamiami Trail, it's a smaller route. It takes you into more secluded and more places that are kind of nestled into the Everglades. And right outside of Everglades City, if you continue east on US 41, you'll come to a place that is really not all that well marked. But if you go to our website, wanderingbunnotlost.com, you'll be able to get a full guide to the road that I'm talking about and actually how to get it, because it's pretty easy to miss actually. But it's just called the Loop Road Scenic Drive, and it's a 24-mile loop road that connects from 41 back up to 41 again. Most of it's a gravel road. I would say probably 80% of it is a gravel road, and you just start heading out really really literally down into the Everglades, and it's a little bit I don't want, creepy is the wrong word, but you kind of feel like you're going off into the woods, right? You can see clearly alligators and crocodiles in that area, the American crocodile. There can be bears, obviously all the bird life that you talked about, armadillos, definitely, and also as elusive apparently as the owl, the Florida panther can be around in the area too. Now, of course, as we have been, kind of talking about, you have to stop and look for these things. Had my eyes peeled for all of these animals, especially the panther, because I think, once again, not unlike the owl, I think I would, lay down and die if I saw a panther. Not because I'm scared of them, because it would just be so beautiful to see one.
Right.
But the road is great. It's not very well traveled. We went in April, so it was kind of around spring break, and we probably were around 2 or 3 other cars the whole 24 miles. So you really are out there. It feels like you were almost on your own little safari, which is pretty awesome. And once again, if you go to the website, there is a guide that will walk you through, kind of like the milepost, where you can stop and look for particular things. So I don't want to go into all of that. Just check it out on the website. But it is a fantastic way to get out off the main highway and kind of experience what the Everglades are all about. If you want to see alligators and you haven't seen them, you will see them on this trail. And they're in the water, on the land, in the road. There was a time where we literally just kind of had to wait for the alligator to cross because it was crossing the road, and there's not much you can do about that. A lot of places to get out and take pictures if you want to. Like I said, we didn't get out of the car a whole lot because, well,
you never know.
You just don't know. Plus, it was with my 83-year-old mother, and I just don't really think that she could outrun too many things.
Probably not.
Probably not even the armadillo. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, it's fantastic, and not only just the wildlife that you see, but the flora is absolutely incredible, and it's otherworldly. In the kind of the bayou. Park. Yeah, it is Jurassic Park. It is very primeval down there. Mm-hmm. The bromeliads and everything you'll see in the moss hanging from the trees. It's really an incredible little adventure. It takes a little while because, like I said, the 24 miles is pretty much a gravel path, so you're not speeding on through the area, but it is well worth the little side trip off the 41 as you're heading across over to the east side of the state. And if you want to see get a feel of what the Everglades are all about, and you don't want to be with the throngs of tourists that might be somewhere, this is a great place to go. So there's so many places in Florida that are going to be exactly like this experience, but this one is really easy to get to, and it's well worth the trip if you're looking for the Everglade experience.
I'm actually glad to hear that, because that route you're talking about sounds much more doable and appealing to me. I think
I'll tell you, I was down in Florida during Irma, and we were actually over in Miami during the actual hurricane, and when we came back, we decided, because it was the time when people were actually being able to travel back across to get to the West Coast, we decided not to take I-75 across, but to take 41 instead. And it really was just a fantastic trip, because it's a 2-lane road the entire way. And, I'm sure there are times when that is much more, trafficked than other times, but it was a beautiful, beautiful ride, because you're right there riding against the Everglades pretty much the entire route across. So and there's really not much civilization as far as commercial buildings or anything along the way there. So it's a great place to get up and get out and to kind of wander in your car across the state of Florida. So anyway, so Loreen, thank you so much for joining us today. I can't wait to get up to the Tampa area, north of Tampa, and do a little wandering up there. And so I really appreciate your insights.
Sure, thanks. Come see me. We'll go to Honeymoon Island.
Sounds like a plan.
Bring your wife and we'll go to Honeymoon.
There we go.
Exactly.
All right, thanks again.